You did not choose the first voice you ever heard. It was chosen for you, and whether you know it or not, that voice is still speaking. Right now, inside every decision you make, every relationship you build, every moment you doubt yourself, the things your parents said did not stay in your childhood. They followed you here. This is not about blame. It is about understanding. Because until you can see the invisible programming running beneath your thoughts, you cannot think freely. Here are 7 things your parents said that are still controlling your mind today. Number 1. You should be ashamed of yourself. Shame is not guilt. Guilt says you did something wrong. Shame says you are something wrong. Psychologist Brené Brown describes shame as the painful feeling that we are unworthy of love and belonging. When a parent used shame as a tool, the child did not learn to correct behavior. They learned that their very self was the problem. Today, that becomes the voice that tells you not to speak up. The quiet feeling that if people really knew you, they would leave. Number 2. Stop crying. Toughen up. When a child is told emotions are weakness, they do not learn strength. They learn suppression. Neuroscientist Damasio proved that emotions are essential to clear thinking. People who cannot feel emotion cannot make decisions. When you were taught to suppress feelings, you were disconnected from one of your most powerful thinking tools. Today, that shows up as difficulty knowing what you actually want. Number 3. Why can't you be more like your sister? Comparison is one of the most damaging tools a parent can use without realizing it. Psychologist Alfred Adler argued that the deepest human need is to feel significant. When a child is constantly compared unfavorably, they spend their entire adult life either chasing validation they never feel they have earned, or giving up entirely. Both patterns follow you into careers, relationships, and the way you scroll social media feeling that familiar old ache you cannot explain. Number 4. I do everything for you and this is how you repay me? This installed a program called guilt-based obligation. When love is presented as a transaction, the child learns that love must be earned. Bowlby's attachment theory showed that early experiences of love shape every relationship that follows. Today, this shows up as saying yes when you mean no, as exhausting yourself for others because somewhere deep down, you believe that is the only way to stay loved. Number 5. You are too sensitive. Sensitivity is not a flaw. Research by psychologist Elaine Aron found that around 20% of people are wired to process information more deeply than others. When a sensitive child is told repeatedly that sensitivity is wrong, they spend enormous energy pretending to be unbothered. Today, that shows up as apologizing for having emotions, as admiring sensitivity in others while being unable to accept it in yourself. Number 6. Because I said so. This phrase installed a belief about authority. A child never allowed to question learns that thinking for themselves is dangerous. Carl Jung wrote that the most damaging thing that happens to a child is inheriting beliefs never examined by the parent. Today, this shows up as accepting explanations that make no sense, simply because they came from someone in authority. Critical thinking, for many people, is an act of quiet rebellion against an instruction received before they were old enough to question it. Number 7. You will never amount to anything. Or its softer versions. Be realistic. Stop dreaming. Carol Dweck's research on mindset showed that children taught their abilities are fixed, avoid challenges, give up quickly, and interpret failure as confirmation of who they are. The words your parents said about your potential became the ceiling you unconsciously place on yourself, not because you consciously believe them, but because the brain that heard them was too young to reject them. Here is what psychology wants you to know. None of this is permanent. The brain rewires itself throughout life, but it can only rewire what it can see. Most of this programming runs beneath awareness, invisible, automatic, mistaken for personality. The first step is simply to notice the voice, to ask where it came from, to recognize that the thought telling you that you are not enough was not born in you. It was placed there. And what was placed there can be examined, questioned, and replaced. You did not choose the first voice you ever heard, but you can choose the one you listen to now.